Countdown is on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, it's 9 o'clock on this Monday night. That means it's time for the Live Zone Primetime.
What's up, my friend?
Mr. Chris, this is Tony P. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching on Fox Local or Fox 5 DC's YouTube page. Tony P., how was the weekend?
How was your weekend, sir? It was pretty good. I gotta tell you, it was really nice. It was. I'll tell you, we're in a heat wave now. We're in the low 30s. Okay, so we're getting there. We were climbing up the heat wave a little bit this weekend. It wasn't too bad. I did a lot of really cool things. We went to the car show. We did the interview on Thursday, and I went to the auto show in the convention center on Sunday. It was so much fun. I was able to get in some of the Range Rovers they had there, the Suburbans, which I call DC's kind of car automobile mascot.
I saw you post that.
That was great. And then they had the little, what do they call it? They had the classic cars. They had, got to mention, I should have posted this. They had a Harley Davidson section. I thought of you. Got on the bikes a little bit. I was looking at a couple Fat Boy bikes, a couple classics. I mean, those are some nice rides, man. I got a little more inspired. I've been a little bit off to the side with the motorcycle passion lately, but
that's okay.
I got back into it.
It's freezing out. It is not ideal temperatures for riding a
No,
motorcycle.
it's not.
Right now, my Honda Rebel is buried in like 4 inches of snow and ice. So
it's like the engine needs to get warmed up, literally.
Man, I'm hoping the battery's not dead, if I'm being honest with you. I got to get out there, jump on it, and just turn it on to make sure all the electrical is still going.
Yeah. Also, happy Black History Month, by the way.
Yeah,
February,
Black History Month. We're going to celebrate all month long.
Yes.
Also, Tony P., I'm not sure if you know, but it's Groundhog Day.
Oh, great. And not the Bill Murray version, I don't think.
That's what I was going for.
Oh,
if
God.
I could play, put your little hand in mine.
Andie MacDowell,
anyway,
she's actually the best character in that movie, just to say. I mean, I love Bill Murray's character, but I just think...
I'm a big fan of Ned Ryerson, personally.
What's his name, that actor again?
Ned Ryerson?
Yes. Wasn't he in Garfield?
I'm going to look it up.
Wasn't he in Garfield? He played Happy Chapman.
Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yes.
All right, we have lost the plot, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
We've got a lot coming up.
Serious
We're going to talk weather coming up because we're going to talk about the ongoing school delay debacle, okay? Alex Saronis from Moco Show is going to join us live coming up here in just a few minutes. First, though, we want to get to our top story tonight, and that is coming to you out of Fairfax County. Guilty on all counts. We are talking about Brendan Banfield, the murder trial we have been following for weeks, if not years. That Fairfax County jury returned the verdict at 5 p.m. today after about 2 days of deliberation, 4 hours on Friday, and then starting at 10 a.m. today, we heard at 4:30 p.m. we were going to get a verdict. At 5 p.m. it came down guilty on all counts. Banfield was accused of killing his wife and another man amid an affair with the family's au pair. Banfield could face life in prison when he is sentenced in May. We want to get right to our expert on this. For more on today's verdict and what comes next, criminal defense attorney Dante Mills joining us now live. Dante, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime.
Thanks for having me. It's a big night.
It is. Sure and I, first and foremost, I just want to get your reaction to the verdict. Are you surprised at all?
I'm not surprised. And I think we talked before and we said when Brendan Banfield took the stand, it had to be because they were concerned they were losing this case. So it seems as if he took the stand in an effort, like a Hail Mary effort, to change things around, but it didn't work. There were some holes in his story. There were some contradictions that he made. There actually were a couple of lies that the prosecutors caught him in when they put up their rebuttal witness. So I wasn't surprised with this verdict. It took about 9 hours of deliberation to get there, but I applaud the jury for taking their time, going through all of the evidence, making sure they got it right, because they decided he's guilty and he's going to more than likely spend the rest of his life in jail.
When looking at this verdict, the deliberation timing, the just flow of this case, what do you think was the main sticking point for this jury in convicting Brendan Banfield? Again, we talked about last week, there were some opportunities for the defense to talk about the DNA inconsistencies and the blood spatter and some of the more technical evidence. But what do you think it was that was the sticking point for this jury?
I think it's the story. It was so compelling. Just to hear that this person was in a relationship with his au pair. They went on a vacation together. She moved into the bedroom shortly after the death. They were operating as if they knew they were going to be a couple. And that's something that I'm sure was tough to get out of the jury's mind. Knowing that scenario and that situation, the fact that seemingly they planned for it, went to a gun range, changed the windows to make them soundproof. those little things factored in, but that overall story I think was hard to shake. And even though the defendants did a good job of trying to poke holes, those holes weren't enough to take away from the overall story about how these two murders unfolded.
Dante, were you surprised that the jury didn't come back with any sort of questions, or there was any sort of split verdict in this case?
I'm kind of surprised they didn't have questions, but that goes to show that they understood their assignment. They knew what they had to do. They knew what the law was, and that they simply had to review the facts as they remembered them coming out during a trial and apply them to the law, apply those facts to the law. A lot of times in my trials, I do get questions, even if it's just a read back of some testimony. You usually get one question from the jury in their quest to get things right, but seemingly, the evidence was straightforward. They probably went through that evidence and then talked about it amongst themselves, let everybody voice their opinion so they could be heard, and then clearly they got to a vote where it was unanimous. They came out and gave their finding. The time that it took to get there, like I said, I appreciate that. We can look at it from the outside looking in and say, well, this was an easy case. They should have been back in 30 minutes, an hour tops. I would have knew my verdict. But the jury, they're different. They're assigned with that task, and they took it serious. And that's what we want from our criminal justice system. Not just trying to rush through it, but taking the time, making sure they got it right. And I think most people will believe that they got it right in this case.
So now we head to the sentencing phase coming up in the May timeframe. In your experience, what goes on during this process for the defense, for the prosecution, and what are some of the considerations that are going to be made by this judge as she decides to impose sentencing on all three of these charges?
A lot of interesting things going on here, and a lot of real life happenings, like the judge is retiring in July.
Right, I heard of the ending there.
We want to, and you don't even think about like real life, those kind of real life things with the judge. You just assume they're going to be there, but this judge is going to retire. She wants to be the one to sentence, which I think makes sense because you want the person who heard the trial, who heard all of that evidence. They can factor that in to the sentencing, which I'm sure will happen here. So that sentence is going to be on May 8th. In the meantime, between now and May 8th, both sides are going to try and control the narrative of what the penalty should be. There's going to be an investigation done, a pre-sentencing investigation unto Mr. Banfield, getting his background, a packet and a report that will be presented to the judge by the court system, essentially, that presents this packet to the judge of who Brendan Banfield is. All of that will be taken into consideration. Both sides will have the opportunity to submit a pre-sentencing report to the judge that they believe paints the person how they want to paint it. So the prosecutor is going to submit a report saying that he's the worst guy in the world, which many people believe he is. His defense team will submit a report. You have to accept responsibility at some point. That goes a long way. But essentially, giving an explanation as to why he did it so that they can soften the sentencing. It's going to be a tough job here for them to really soften his demeanor and his presence because he testified, and the jury, which means the judge, will believe he lied to them on the stand when he said he didn't commit those murders. So it will be hard to give him that sympathy in sentencing, but that's going to be his attorney's job between now and May when that sentencing happens.
Dante, we heard from both the Commonwealth's attorney and the prosecutor today, Jenna Sands, basically saying not only was Brendan Banfield a monster, but also pointing directly to his testimony on the stand, his lack of emotion, basically saying that, the things that were brought up that would upset normal people, he seemed to have no reaction to whatsoever. They also pointed out how he kind of referred to things as my house and never referred to Christine as my wife. In the end, was it a mistake to put him on the stand, and is that what really sealed his fate?
I don't think it was a mistake to put him on the stand because if he didn't go on the stand, I think the jury may have come back quicker with the guilty verdict. So it's seemingly they were seeking for something to change the path that this case was going on. They tried their Hail Mary of putting him on the stand, but it didn't work. I don't know if it's necessarily the lack of him showing emotion. Sometimes emotion is good, but if he showed too much emotion, they could have thought he was faking and over-exaggerating, overdoing it, and that could have backfired as well. It's hard to navigate that space where, yes, it's a touchy subject, your wife died, but this isn't the first time you're hearing about it. He's not surprised at this point. We're a long time after that murder. He would have gone through prep And if I was his attorney, I would explain that. I would have told the jury, I instructed him not to show emotion so we can get through this testimony because it's very important and you need to hear every word. So I went over this testimony with him so he wouldn't get emotional on the stand. Don't hold it against him if he does it. But, a jury is going to look at the way somebody testifies and factor that in. But I don't know if ultimately that's what done him in. I think it was the situation surrounding the facts of this double murder, them luring someone to the house and the way this murder happened, and then the holes that he had in his story about why he was at that McDonald's and supposedly meeting a supervisor who was out of the country on vacation. Those kind of things just took away his credibility, and the jury in the end decided he was lying on the stand and that he in fact committed these murders.
Based on your experience, do you see any path for an appeal from the defense and Brendan Banfield's team, or is it really pretty much an open and shut case post-sentencing?
It's tough to say. To Monday morning quarterback, I kept up with the trial and watched a lot of the testimony, but I didn't see some of the behind the scenes things where the judge had some hearings with just the attorneys where they went over evidence. Those are where the appeal issues come in. When the attorneys are deciding what should be heard by the jury and what should not be heard by the jury. And the most times where you find an appeal is if the jury heard something that they should not have heard, and that could have impacted how they see the case. Or if the judge stopped the jury from hearing something that the defense is saying, well, I tried to get this evidence in and it would have made a difference. Judge, you said I couldn't and you were wrong. Those are the things that will lead to an appeal, and those are the things that a jury or even someone sitting in the audience in that gallery in a courtroom wouldn't necessarily be privy to or know, because those conversations happen in camera with just the court or at sidebar where the judge is deciding what the jury should or should not hear.
All right. Dante Mills, criminal defense attorney, thanks so much for lending your expertise to us, not only tonight, but throughout the course of this trial as
I always learn so much more about the law when Dante's on to telling us stuff, because I love the law, and you explain it. I could ask you 9,000 questions that I would enjoy this.
I specifically told him he was on a short leash.
Yes, I know. I always am. It's like I ask too much.
Dante, but it's Groundhog Day. We'll do it tomorrow.
We'll do it again. Yes, we certainly will.
Same questions.
Dante, if people want to follow you for more, where can they do it?
Yeah, it's just Dante Mills on Instagram and social.
Yep.
Mills Legal is our website for our firm. We're happy to help however we can.
All right,
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thanks for spending some time with us tonight. All right, guys, we want to move on to our other big story here tonight, and that, of course, is the weather. We mentioned it was Groundhog Day. We're going to see more winter coming up, according to that groundhog.
Oh, great.
I know, Tony P's psyched about that. But it must feel like Groundhog Day for some parents in Montgomery County and beyond, because for the 6th straight day, students across the DMV had a snow day. A lot of students across the DMV had a snow day. It's been more than a week since it actually snowed. Just a reminder, in case you forgot, Montgomery, Fairfax, and Prince William and Prince George's County schools all were closed today. DC and Loudoun County Public Schools opened 2 hours late. Prince George's County schools will remain closed tomorrow. Montgomery County schools will be open on a 2-hour delay. Montgomery County Public Schools sent out an email to parents today saying they want students back, but unsafe neighborhood roads and sidewalks were keeping them closed. So for more on the week-long closures, we want to bring in basically the foremost authority on snow days in the region. We are talking about Alex Saronis from the MoCo Show, joining us now live. Alex, thanks so much for spending some time with us on the Live Zone Primetime.
Thanks for having me. I've had a lot of time off here with my kids.
A lot of time off. Listen,
I can imagine.
I mentioned that you are the foremost authority on snow days because this whole thing started as MoCo Snow before it was MoCo Show. So were you surprised by how long it took to get things back open and back to normal?
Yeah, look, before the storm, we were expecting a bigger storm, but we didn't know that all this ice would come with it. I've lived in Montgomery County 43 years. The DMV all had a similar experience. We had moderate snow in Montgomery County. It was 5 to 10 inches. We had sleet on top of that, like an inch or so of that. And then we had freezing cold temperatures for the last, week and a half, or I guess a little over a week. And this is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it. So yeah, I was surprised, but after seeing what happened, there was almost no other choice.
So for some of our viewers who may not be of the DMV, or some folks like me who are from the Boston area, New York, New Jersey, who are just used to snow like this being cleaned up in a hurry, Based on your experience, what is the reason why it takes so long, beyond the temperature and all the frost we're getting, that is the reason why it's been so hard for DC and the DMV to clean the snow up effectively?
Look, I think it all just goes back to the temperatures and the snow. Again, I can't think of a time where it's been this cold for this long after. So we've had bigger snows. We've had 30-inch snowstorms, and those were cleaned up. It took, similar amount of time to clean those up, but that's, 5 times the amount of snow. This cold, I've never seen this much cold for this long, and it just kind of made those piles of ice on the side, piles of snow on the side, into these glaciers that can't be moved. So it's been unbelievable. I mean, we're having people with like pickaxes, working on these piles, and it's almost impossible to clean them up. So some parents were thinking we'd be closed again, like Prince George's County was, and some parents thought we should open last week. But if you look at the conditions, it's never really been like this 8 days after a storm.
Right, like flamethrowers they had out in DC, I think.
So, Alex, I want you to hang tight, but we're talking about parents, and we have a couple parents in the Zoom room. I know we have Andrew Zimmerman, who is a Montgomery County parent, a very outspoken one at that. I don't know if you can hear me, Andrew, right now. We also have Sandra. Sandra's in, Alexandria in Fairfax County. And I want to check in with you guys in just a second. But first, I do want to put up this tweet from Councilmember Andrew Friedson from Montgomery County, who said more than a week after a winter storm, students should be back in school and neighborhood streets should be safely passable. These are the core government services that matter most. Montgomery County must do better. The Montgomery County Council hearing on Tuesday can't come soon enough. So, Alex, are you expecting any sort of fireworks at this meeting tomorrow or any accountability?
I don't think so. I know I'm seeing a lot of politicians call it unacceptable, and it kind of is unacceptable, but I'm also thinking there's nothing any politician could have done to create warmer temperatures. And I think ultimately that's what it goes back to. So it's great, to say we're gonna do things differently, but what are we gonna do? I want someone to come to the table and kind of let us know what's gonna happen differently in this situation, which hasn't ever happened before. It might not ever happen again, but I guess it would be, good to have a different plan going forward.
All right, Alex, hang tight. I do want to bring in Sandra. And Sandra, I know you're in Fairfax, Alexandria City Schools. I assume, what has the situation been where you are? I know you talked to me last week about wanting to keep your kids home and safe. Has the response been up to par, in your opinion, where you are?
Well, just a little correction. The where I live at is Fairfax County Schools.
Okay.
So far, so good. I mean, the main roads are clear, but it's just the neighborhood roads that are not so clear. And I mean, at this point, the kids need to go back to school, obviously. But if there's safety concerns to where, kids are slipping and falling and, they're rolling down the street, on ice and stuff like that, and buses can't get into and out of neighborhoods, that's a safety concern for all parents, really.
What are some things as a parent you'd like to see reformed for the next storm so that kids are not, out of school for as long as they have been? 'Cause that's a big impact on parents, I can imagine. So are there certain reforms you'd like to see or communication changes that you didn't see this time when the next storm comes?
Better communication within, the counties, and especially with them having to get the snow plows in and out, on a timely fashion, and salting places. Some of these kids, their parents can't really go anywhere. Like myself, I have 4 kids, and I have my godson that's here, and for them, we're questioning tomorrow if they're going to go to school. It's a 2-hour delay tomorrow, and at this point, I don't know, and I'm homesick, so I really don't have the energy to be like, okay, let me go outside, let me go see, definitely has to be better communication throughout everything.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a burden on the parents.
Of course
out there
it is.
too, of course, especially if they have to take time off from work.
Right.
Alex, should remote learning have been an option here?
So I think it was in some counties in the area, but Montgomery County Public Schools said that they could not do it. They provided a few reasons. One of the reasons was they currently don't have like a Chromebook for each student. They hadn't planned for anything like this, so they couldn't do it. I think maybe having a plan in place, especially after having to do this, a few years ago during COVID, maybe it'd be a good idea to have a plan in place in case there's ever a prolonged closing like this. But these closings are also pretty rare. And this situation in general is pretty rare that, 5 to 10 inches of snow is going to close down a whole region for almost 8 days. But yeah, I think virtual learning should be an option. I just don't know if it can be. And then a lot of people aren't happy with what virtual learning is. And it still kind of puts the parents in a similar position. They still have to be home with their kids monitoring. And then, is learning going on during that time? Couldn't tell you for sure. But at least give it a shot.
It's definitely not a level playing field. Adam Zimmerman, not sure if you can hear us now. You are a parent in Rockville of 2 Montgomery County Public School students, an outspoken parent as well. You sent an email to the station tonight, not pleased with the response in Montgomery County when it comes to the snow.
To what happened with COVID a few years ago, that schools in this case were the first to close and the last to open. And we saw the damage that did during the pandemic in terms of the impact on students' education, parents' ability to work, etc. And even though this is obviously a lot less severe circumstances and hopefully a much shorter period of time, it still shows that we haven't properly learned the lessons from what happened a few years ago with the pandemic. And what I think is missing from the conversation about, why no virtual learning, we can't let the perfect here be the enemy of the good. I don't think parents are looking for, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. standard instruction day, classes go on the same way they would in school. It's not that. It's doing what you can, doing the best that you can. Get teachers on a Zoom for an hour. Give some activity sheets for some younger kids to potentially work on. Is it true that some families might not be able to access those documents because they don't have a computer at home? Sure. But it's true that a lot of people do. And for those who do, it helps. And for those who don't, you try to get other ways to engage with those families. So I think we're in a situation where the district could have done more to do the best that they could during this prolonged closure. And the fact that they chose not to is, I think, what's frustrating many parents.
What are some of the potential reforms beyond, online learning, things of that nature, whether it be communication or snow removal changes that you hope to see after this prolonged situation here in the DMV?
Yeah, so I think we're in a situation where extreme weather events are becoming more common. Yep. Something with this storm is becoming, I think, more the rule than the exception. So I think it certainly starts with equipment. If we don't have what we need at this point as a county, one of the wealthiest counties in the country, to be able to properly clear streets for buses or make sidewalks passable for kids who walk to school, then we need to do that. That's a policy choice that we make. And if we don't make the investment, these are the consequences. When it comes to virtual learning, if there's more we can do, compared to what we're doing now, even if it's not perfect, even if it doesn't reach everybody, if there's still a gap between what we do and what we could do, then we need to proactively fill that gap so that we're ready for next time. One thing that I think the school district did very well over the past few days is making sure that families had meals, for example. For many kids, school meals are the most consistent source of nutrition that they'll get at any point during the week. So they opened up sites so that parents could come get meals for a couple of days, and that helps get through this stretch of time. Did it reach everybody? No. Did every parent who could have depended on those meals, were they able to get it? No. But they didn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. They gave those meals out to whoever could access them, and you try to reach the other families as best you can. I think the same model should apply to virtual learning, where you try to reach as many kids as you can, give parents the opportunity to work a little bit more than they might otherwise be able to, give kids an activity so that they're occupied for at least part of the day, and it helps a little bit, even if it's not perfect. So what I'm hoping comes out of the county council hearing tomorrow is some of those steps that can be used for next time so that this sort of situation doesn't happen again, because we shouldn't keep putting our kids last.
All right. Adam Zimmerman, Sandra Ruiz, and Alex Saronis from the Moco Show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and having this conversation. Obviously, a lot of lessons to be learned. Alex, before we let you go, where can people follow you for more?
At Mr. Moco 301, you'll see a lot of my Moco Snow stuff on Instagram there, or the Moco Show for just all of our stuff in general. All
right. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime and breaking this down for us.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what Tony P's been keeping his eye on this Monday afternoon. First, though, we're taking a live look at the Artemis fuel test, which is set to get underway here in a couple of hours. I don't know a lot of details about it, but I saw that live picture and I thought you might like it too. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Looks cool, though.
Right?
I know, I saw you. I'm sitting here eating my yogurt.
Welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime on this Monday night. Tony P, that was a fun conversation.
I thought that was really good. This is the importance of a show like ours, where we do, of course, live and breaking news, and we go to different footage and we talk about stuff. But it's really about getting behind the scenes with the community. What are the issues that communities around here are facing and around the country? What are they looking at? What's happening in their life? What are the kitchen table issues? We just saw that out close and personal when it comes to snow days, parents, how to get kids to school and how to do it safely, and how to really think about local governance. This is a great, great segment.
And just a reminder, that QR code is your key to being able to join that conversation anytime, no matter what we're talking about, or something that you think we should be talking about. In the meantime, let's find out what Tony P's been talking about today, and what he's been keeping his eye on.
And we are starting with the Epstein file released this past week. New court filings tied to Jeffrey Epstein are again exposing how closely he was connected to powerful people and how survivors were mishandled in the process. The documents reference more than 170 individuals this last release, including Elon Musk and Prince Andrew. Being named does not imply criminal wrongdoing, want to say that, but the records show that Epstein used his elite circles as leverage. The Department of Justice confirmed that some survivors' full names were mistakenly left unredacted, prompting an apology and renewed criticism from survivors and their advocates. Separately, physician and longevity podcaster Peter Attia acknowledged that Epstein funded a 2014 conference he attended and said he cut ties once Epstein's crimes were public. He was also a part of the list of names released in this last file situation, and he was potentially up for a job with CBS for his contributorship. That's under review at the moment as well. So a lot of things on social media and in traditional media and just celebrities in general are facing a lot of backlash today from that release on Friday. The one thing we will watch, especially the safety of survivors and those redactions. Also, President Trump is drawing attention for announcing that the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts will close for up to 2 years starting in 2026, very soon, for major renovations. President Trump, who previously reshaped the Kennedy Center's board and leadership, said the building is outdated and needs a full overhaul to address infrastructure, accessibility, and acoustics issues. The decision has sparked backlash from artists and performers, with several canceling appearances, and critics arguing the move reflects political influence over a particularly nonpartisan cultural institution. President Trump is also facing questions over a direct phone call with FBI agents tied to the Georgia election search last week. According to reporting, Trump spoke with agents after the raid, and the call was facilitated by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who was meeting with the agents and put President Trump on speakerphone so he could ask questions and thank them. The White House defended the interaction as part of its election integrity efforts, while critics say it blurs the line between political leadership and federal law enforcement. After negotiating a bipartisan funding deal with Senate Democrats, President Trump urged House Republicans to approve the package without changes today, even as a group of conservatives pushed to attach the Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility, or the SAVE Act, a voter ID and election integrity measure, to the spending bill. House conservatives, led by Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, argue that the legislation should include the SAVE Act before moving forward, saying it would strengthen election rules. Trump took to social media afterwards to insist there should be no changes on the deal and urged his allies to pass the Senate-approved measure quickly to end the ongoing partial government shutdown. The standoff highlights deep division within the GOP, as adding the SAVE Act would likely doom the bill in the Senate. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that DHS and ICE agents in Minneapolis will now wear body-worn cameras effective immediately. The move follows public backlash over recent fatal encounters involving federal agents, including the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Noem said the cameras are intended to improve transparency and accountability, with plans to expand the program nationally as funding allows. In a developing personal story, NBC Today's Savannah Guthrie says her mother, Nancy Guthrie, remains missing after disappearing during a solo hike in Arizona's McDowell Sonoran Preserve. Authorities say she was last seen entering the trail system without water during warm conditions, and search crews continue using helicopters, drones, dogs, and ground teams to find her at this time. We send all of our prayers to Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie, and the entire family during this time. In the world of business, housing data shows the market is clearly shifting in a positive direction towards buyers. Inventory is up more than 18% year over year. Price growth has slowed to its weakest pace since 2019, and nearly one-third of sellers are now offering concessions, such as closing cost assistance or mortgage rate buy-downs. Mortgage rates remain elevated, but economists say buyers now have negotiating power that hasn't existed pre-COVID. At the 2026 Grammy Awards last night in Los Angeles, Bad Bunny made history by winning Album of the Year for Debí Terá Más Fotos, getting better at my Spanish, becoming the first Spanish-language album to take the top prize. Kendrick Lamar and SZA won a Record of the Year for Luther, while Billie Eilish and Phineas took Song of the Year for Wildflower. Olivia Dean was named Best New Artist, and Lady Gaga won Best Pop Vocal Album, with performances from Gaga, Sabrina Carpenter, and Justin Bieber made the rounds. And finally, it is Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do this throughout the month. Some really cool facts for you. So on this day, in 1897, February 2nd, 1897, Alfred L. Crowell patented the modern ice cream scoop, introducing a built-in scraper that cleanly released ice cream from the spoon, a simple invention that we all use, including me, on a maybe a few days a week basis to this day. Really cool stuff.
Really cool stuff.
Also, there's a great story too, and maybe I'll add it for the. I want to give it away. It's a great golf fun fact, but I'll do that for next week.
All right, save it for next time.
Yes,
in the meantime,
I almost got ahead of myself. There's so many cool facts.
Grammys one more time. First of all,
yes.
It's Bad Bunny's world. We're all just living in it.
Next week, baby. Well, this
weekend.
Album
of the Year, one weekend, Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh yes.
The next weekend. The guy couldn't be riding higher right now. And anyway, we'll have a whole week to talk about
there was
that.
so much. We can go all in on the acts.
Did you watch the red carpet, and did you watch the Grammys?
I did, yes.
Did you have any favorites that stood out to you?
Well, I really liked the Ozzy Osbourne tribute.
Oh, the tribute, yeah, with Post Malone and Slash.
I mean,
Youngblood.
Tears were, just flowing.
Sharon Osbourne and Kelly, both very emotional.
Very nice. And I thought the speeches were excellent. Mm-hmm. I do think a lot of the artists addressed all the, of course, the tragedies with Ice and Renee Good and Alex Preddy and others. I think that was very, very well done on all the actors' fronts. I think Jelly Roll had a nice speech about his journey. He won 3. He won 3.
Holding up his Bible.
Yeah. He won 3 country music and Christian music Grammys. He was nominated last year, but missed out on 4, I think. He won 3 this year in a row. Pretty big night for him. Also, Nate Bargatze, one of my favorite comics. He's a clean comic. He won for Best Comedy Album. Really cool. He actually wasn't at the event, though. It was on his Instagram. He was sitting on the couch.
Fun little fact.
Watching it.
Fun little fact.
What do you got?
Steven Spielberg, now an EGOT winner.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Because
yes.
Steven Spielberg picked up a Grammy for his work with a John Williams tribute album. It was like nominated in the category of like best movie music or something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
What is up with the awards coming out too early? They come out before the show. They come out
ahead of time. It's
I
so
don't
that
get
they
this.
I get it. They're trying to make the actual award show more performance heavy rather than speech heavy, especially for a show that's about music. All right, so
also Pharrell won too. Love Pharrell.
Well, Pharrell is exactly who I was about to mention because
and Trevor
Pharrell
Noah too.
And Clips, Pusha T, the absolute hands down best dressed when it came to the men, in my opinion.
Yes.
In that Louis Vuitton pink velvet, whatever those suits were. They were
everybody was
chef's kiss.
Hey, what was that Cher situation?
Much better than Tony P's tan suit from last week.
Wow. You know something?
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back,
to throw that in there for no reason.
I'm excited about this one. FitDadCEO,
yes.
You know him. The OG dad influencer, social media phenomenon. He is going to join us live because he has a new book coming out just in time for Father's Day. We're going to talk to him all about that and much, much more. First, though, we're going to leave you with this live picture of the Washington Monument from our Fox 5 Skycam at the wharf. Tony P and I will be back in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Dave, it's Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. All right, you're up in 2 minutes.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, sir. Hey, just can you say your last name for me so I'm saying it right?
Ogleton.
Ogleton, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Sure. I figured that too.
Ooh, that dress so scandalous, and you know enough to handle it. So you're shaking that thing like who's the ish, with a look in your eyes so devilish. You like to dance up.
So that's one of the many viral and hilarious videos that you can find on the FitDadCEO social media pages. Now, though, the OG Dadfluencer is bringing his content to a whole new audience because he is getting ready to release a brand new book. It's called So Dad, It's Good, the ultimate database of cringe-worthy dad jokes. It's set to drop in May. First, though, Dave Fit Dad Ogleton joining us now live. And Dave, first and foremost, I had to do a wardrobe change.
You did it pretty quick,
to make
too.
you feel
Yes.
at home.
That
okay?
was well
because
done.
I know not only are you a Powerline fan, but you're a Birds fan because you are coming to us from
Birds.
Philly, and we wanted to make you feel at home.
Wait a minute.
Wait a
minute. Who's playing in San Fran in a few days? I misremember.
Okay, so now that we're talking about that, my co-host here, my illustrious co-host here, Tony P, is actually a huge Pats fan.
Yes.
So, as the reigning Super Bowl champions.
Hey, you beat us in 2017.
We beat them the last time.
You did, okay? You did, all right?
As a matter of fact. So do you have any words
so you
of
got
wisdom,
one on
any
us.
words of advice for Tony P as he enters this weekend of Super Bowl excitement?
Oh, God.
Listen, if he's a Pats fan, he's seen enough Super Bowls, okay? I give no words of wisdom to him, all right?
I mean, look, there was a great meme going around. It's like the SpongeBob where they go in the prison. They go, "Don't do the time." Okay, time's up. That's the Patriots like 6 years away. But let me ask you this, because you're one I hear creators. As a creator myself on the social media stuff, I see you all the time, and I just love the work that you do. Now, you started off by just doing stuff. Your daughter mentioned some stuff early on, and you were like, I want to just kind of see what my kids are doing, right? You started putting out content. Like that accidental nature of just like trying something new and putting it on there to social media, how does that influence the content you make today as you continue to grow and do books and do wonderful different pieces of content? That experiential nature, how does that influence you to this day?
I mean, a lot of it was in the very beginning just experimenting, and I think that's just what my content always will be. I love trying new things. I love trying new formats, but I kind of stick to the millennial parent dad jokes, and I always try to wrap new things around those topics, and it makes it fun. Honestly, it's like my creative outlet.
I love that. And when thinking about the process of dad jokes, okay, because everybody kind of does them and they fall flat, but yours never do, in my opinion, okay. And this is the internet talking too. What is the anatomy of a dad joke, and how do you deliver one in the best way without being cringe? And I hate that word, but I'm just going to use it for this. But
question. you embrace the cringe, and that's
you got to embrace that.
All right, okay.
This is where
there's the answer.
This is where Tony P and I have to kind of come
part
to
of the answer.
Heart to heart. Is that millennials embrace cringe? Millennial cringe is like a real thing.
Okay.
We're okay with it.
So
I mean,
what's
really
the anatomy of this?
That's the anatomy of it. It's like you need that cringe, but you also need that good timing for the punchline as well. If you can embrace the cringe and have that perfect timing, it's chef's kiss. You know what I mean? Like it's perfect.
I love that.
So, what do you have a favorite dad joke that you are willing to share with us tonight? Not to give anything away from the book too much, but.
Oh yeah, you know what? I had one ready just in case.
Just in case.
And I have it here, and I'll have my book here as well.
Love it.
I keep hearing that you should try, a corduroy pillow. They're really making headlines, I guess.
Okay.
Again, delivery like very deadpan. I like it, like solid, like it's like Norm Macdonald. You have a really good delivery of that. You just kind of let it happen.
Absolutely. And
That's
you know,
good.
one of the things that I love about you is I have been a fan of yours since before I was a dad. Now I am a new dad, 4 weeks old as of Saturday. And
nice,
so
congrats.
I really am kind of leaning into my cringy dad joke era. So this is exactly what I need in my life.
Yeah, I mean I love the messages that I get, especially about the dad jokes, because I will get messages exactly like that, where people will say, I can't wait to use these jokes as a dad. And then like now I've been doing this for almost 6 years. I have people coming back to me being like, I'm a new dad, and I'm able to now actually like embrace that cringe, embrace that dad joke, mentality. And it's crazy how far it's come in 5-6 years, and I guess the longevity of what I've been doing now is awesome to see people kind of progress with me as well in their lives.
Okay, so while you are willing to embrace the cringe, and while you are willing to lean into the dad jokes and things like that, obviously you are a family man. How does your family feel about you kind of taking on this very public persona and leaning into this role?
Oh yeah.
I mean, again, I started 5 years ago. It was cool for about 5 seconds then when I started to kind of blow up online, and then now it's kind of just like, oh, okay, yeah, we saw you, Dad. We saw your last video. Yeah, cool, that was funny. And so they enjoy it. They enjoy the perks that come with it. I'll just say that, especially the older ones, like the teenagers. They really embrace just milking every bit they can get out of those perks.
I love that. Now, when thinking about, parenting, and you have a wonderful family, and you have, kids of different ages, like how has parenting influenced your creation process in different generations and trying to reach millennials and Gen Z, and I think it's Gen Alpha now, some of the new generations. Yep. Like, how has parenting helped you keep that content to go across the board so everybody can really enjoy it? Because it's intergenerational for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have everything from a teenager. We literally have high school, middle school, elementary school, and a preschooler right now. Right. So it's easy to pick and choose, what kind of content I want to curate that day, because it's all happening at the exact same time. So a lot of the content that I make is inspired by just either things that are happening in our own lives, or that I know are kind of like pain points for parents right now. Right now we have all this snow and everyone's kind of stuck inside. Right. So, that's an easy thing to make content about. So it's honestly a lot easier than people think. It's just how can you hit on those parts to not depress parents so much, but make them laugh.
Right. And then you talk about not depressing people, because social media can be a depressing place. It can be angry. Mm-hmm. You have the manosphere. And I really want to talk about that for a second, because I view you as a bright light in social media where you bring that warmth. Like, when you look at the manosphere and the masculinity stuff that we're seeing with parents and young men, like, how do you see your role in really in putting out a good, a really solid role model for young men out there and aspiring fathers out there? Because we don't have a lot of role models for young men out there right now.
I think it's just to be able to look at ourselves and say, you're not going to be perfect. And if you mess up, it's like, don't be one of those people that doesn't know how to not accept that you messed up. Everyone messes up. And I think we all try to cover up these mess ups so much with like ego and everything else. And I think especially as guys, we do it a lot. And I know I was definitely someone who I never wanted to be wrong about anything. And as a dad, it's like the hardest way to try and parent. So if you can work on letting that go, I think that's probably honestly the best advice that I can give for any new dad, any dad that's, to be, or even anyone that's kind of like struggling in that area.
Love that.
So you have also used your voice and your platform recently to speak out for causes that you obviously feel passionate about. And, one of your recent posts was basically saying the first comment you always get whenever you post something political, for example. What is the reaction like when you take a stand, for a lack of a better phrase, for something like that? And why do you feel like it's your responsibility to speak out about things that you feel strongly about?
The responses I get, I'm kind of used to now. You know what I mean? I'm able to brush those off at this point. But the reason why I choose to speak up now is just because I was one of those people in the very beginning. I was very guarded about what I talked about, because I was building a business and I was, just basically protecting that business. But at the same time, I started to gain such a following that I felt like I had a responsibility to speak up about certain things. And I also have, 6 kids, and I want to make sure that they're, being raised in a world that is going to help to protect them as well. So I feel like it's sort of my responsibility to speak up about those things.
When you look at the influencer, content creator business and profession, what do you think is one of the biggest things that is misunderstood about what we do with social media and putting it out there to the world? Like, what is that thing that you think people get wrong about us?
That we're constantly on our phones. I think for me anyway, like I think people think that I'm just like on my phone 24/7, and some days I can be, but especially if I'm just
too.
Like, really yeah, some days I definitely can be, but I think the misconception with a lot of people is that like the old influencers, like the pre-COVID, I think, influencers were always recording everything. They were always trying to get content. Now it's more people are like curating their content where, we're actually treating it as a business. A lot of us are, and we're, writing our concepts out, writing our scripts out, and then doing the content all in one day.
Right.
And some days it's like, I just don't even want to like look at my phone. So it's I think that's probably the biggest misconception, is that we're always constantly on our phones.
I love that. And you've done a wonderful job of like pivoting and like starting new series by doing that.
Well, Dave, let's talk about the part of the Fit Dad CEO. We focused a lot on the dad part.
Yeah, we did.
You're a father of 6. You're a full-time content creator. You wrote a book. How the hell do you find time to stay in such fantastic shape as well? And what advice can you give Tony P and I to try to work this into
I don't want to go to the gym.
We're so bad about it. We complain about it all the time about how bad we are about trying to stay in shape. And meanwhile, the two of us are shoving pizza in our face at 9 o'clock at night.
The beach is nowhere for me.
I mean, the fit part is something I'm trying to like re-embrace again actually this year, and for me personally, it's always been just an important part of my life. It was always part of my adult life, and I make time for it. That's all, you know what I mean. I took some time off in the last few years, and I really was just like, I don't want to work out, I don't want to eat good, I don't want to do any of it, because I was doing it for so long. And now I'm like, okay, I'm 41 now. I think it's time for me to get back somewhat, you know what I mean. Right. So I work out about 3 times a week. I don't do anything crazy, but it's basically just to, you know, drop some pounds, get a little muscle on, and it's only about an hour workout every day that I work out, and that's it. And I'm back to work.
It's so relatable because we see the, you know, last few years, the fitness and the manosphere. It's all these like crazy workouts and supplements, and I just think that your voice is needed to really just be a palate cleanser for that, because it's so bad out there right now. But let me close with this question. If anybody's out there that wants to start creating, whether they be, you know, someone who's a dad or someone who's, you know, just starting out there in college or whatever, what would be your biggest advice to them to putting great content out there, but also being fully authentic and sincere? Because we always hear about authenticity. We don't really know what that actually means sometimes. What would be your greatest advice for people who are starting out to be truly authentic in this business?
To be relatable, honestly. It's, if you're going to put content out there, the best way for it to get out there faster is to find something that's not only relatable to you, but relatable to other people, and try to make it as broad as you can, but find something that you enjoy making. Like when I started doing my dad jokes, it was, I found a way to deliver it in a way that nobody was doing. And I just kept doing that over and over and over and over again until I found something else to add into that. And it just kept growing from there. So start out with something that you enjoy talking about, but is relatable to other people as well.
Love that.
Dave, quick speed round here, okay? A Delco kid here talking to a Philly guy. So
this is gonna be a battle.
Well, first of all,
I'm Delco, dude.
Are you really? Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah, Ridley High School.
Okay, I went to Bonner. My brother's in Springfield right now. I went to St. Andrews and St. Louis and Yeadon for a while too.
Nice.
So, okay. So, I'm only basing this off of the fact that I have a Superman tattoo and you have a Fantastic Four and Iron Man thing behind you. DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Favorite cheesesteak?
Ooh.
Oh, geez. I just had one down at Reading Terminal Market, and I can't remember the name.
Nice.
Peppers and onions on it?
I can't remember the name of it, but it'll come to me as soon as I get out of here, I guarantee you.
All right. Do you want to keep Nick Sirianni around?
Yes.
How are the Phillies going to do this year?
No comment.
Oh, don't do that to me.
All right, I have one real speed round question.
My daughter's name is Harper.
Oh, no.
Listen, hey, you guys stole Schwarber from the Red Sox, okay? So you know what? I have no sympathy for you.
The Nats stole him from the Red Sox.
All right, good point. Sorry. I mistimed that one. See, my baseball isn't that good. Now, who would be your inspiration comedically? Because I know there's a lot of great comics from Philadelphia who really could do jokes and entertainment. So who would be your inspiration, whether it be from Philly or anywhere?
So one of my all-time, I'm staring at him on the wall right now, is Will Smith. I'm the biggest Will Smith guy. I love his entertainment. I love the way that he's been able to go from acting to music to movie to comedy to, he just does all of it. So if I was to say anyone, I'd probably say Will Smith.
Love it. That's fair. Kevin Hart, Will Smith, FitDadCEO, Dave Ogleton. They're all right on the same level to me.
Yes, sir.
Listen, if people want to not only follow you, if they want to get a copy of the book, talk to us about how they can do it.
All right, so the book is available May. Oh my goodness, why am I drop? I'm forgetting the actual May 12th. So you can grab a copy or 5 and have it ready for Father's Day. And you can find me on social media at FitDadCEO on all platforms.
I just saw the title. I just figured out that joke. in real time. Just figured out.
It's the database that really clinched it for me.
It's so good.
I knew I had to have that in there at some point.
It's perfection. God. Dave, thanks so much for spending some time with us here tonight. Go Birds, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You get 6 months.
Thank you. I know, Tony. All right. Well, we're going to take that right into NFL because obviously tonight's Super Bowl opening night. Earlier today, we saw the Pats hit the practice field. We saw the Seahawks hit the practice field. Tony P., how are you feeling this week? Talk to me.
You know something? I have not posted a thing about the Patriots on social media or anything this entire year. I'm keeping that going because I think every time I post on social media about a football team, they lose. So you know what? I'm not posting about it. I am going to be even-keeled. Mm-hmm. I'm just happy we're there.
What are your plans for the Super Bowl? Do you know where you're watching? Do you know what's on your menu yet?
Not sure yet. We're still working out some details of where I'll be, whether location-wise or what our setting will be. But I'll say this. For me, I'm just happy we're there. And I think the Patriots have a lot to prove because they played so poorly in the AFC Championship game, whereas the Seahawks played a near-flawless game. And Sam Darnold threw over 300 yards. I think he had an over 100 passer rating. And I think overall, there's a lot to prove for the Patriots, and I kind of like that they're the underdog, the chips on the shoulder. I feel confident because of that. But in my mind, it's either going to be a close Patriots victory or a complete Seattle blowout.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, what are your thoughts as an observer this year as compared to last year when you're blowing out Kansas City?
The Sam Darnold story is great, obviously.
It is. Poor Jets fans.
Poor Jets fans and poor Vikings fans, obviously. He had 14 wins with the Vikings, and they trade him away, and then he comes and plays some of the best football of his entire career. I also learned last week, in case you didn't know, his grandfather is not only a USC legend, a former Olympian, a firefighter, and the Marlboro Man, and his name is Dick Hammer. So that alone makes him a legend. Melissa's in the Zoom room tonight. Melissa, thanks so much for hanging out with us the whole hour. I apologize I didn't get you in a little earlier. Talk to me about your Super Bowl plans. What you said you host an event every year, as a matter of fact. Who will you be rooting for, though?
Seahawks all the way.
Seahawks all the way.
I'm tired of the Patriots. I'm tired.
It's been 6 years.
No, I'm tired of the Patriots. I'm sorry. Give it to the Seahawks. It's going to be a close game, and during the end, it's going to be very, very close, but the Seahawks is going to come out winning overall. But I plan to throw a Vital Drip Lounge Super Bowl bash for women. And this is particularly for women that don't like to watch the game, are only in it for the halftime show. I'm going to be hosting it in Laurel, Maryland. So if you want to go, you can go on www.vitaldriplounge.com. I'll be having all kinds of health and wellness things, massages, hot tub, food.
Sorry.
Bless it.
And for the women. And men are included, but
that's a hell of a Super Bowl party.
I like that. Massages for the Super Bowl, I wouldn't mind that.
Right?
Any commercials you're looking forward to, or
M&M's, Doritos, even though I don't Doritos like that, but definitely M&M's, Doritos. I'm tired of the Taco Bells. I'm tired of the car stuff. But
okay, that's understandable.
I saw a sneak preview for an ad today that was Jurassic Park based. They had Jeff Goldblum in it. It's for like Xfinity Mobile, so stay tuned for that one. Sandra's in the Zoom room as well. Sandra, are you rooting for anybody in particular this Super Bowl Sunday? Oh, sorry. Let me get your audio. That's on me. There you go. You're good.
No, like I said, not really. I'm wishing both teams, luck on this. I'm really for the halftime show because I am a Bad Bunny fan.
Okay. Bonito ball.
It's putting a lot of Puerto Ricans on the map, so I'm kind of proud of that a little. But no, I'm like I said, I watch football for both teams. I don't really root for losers or winners. Mm-hmm. And the food, obviously, I am going to try, if I'm whether me not being sick permitted, I am going to do a little something for my family, and we're going to watch the football game.
I love that.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining us as always, Tony P. Okay, so West Virginia Ben says no more Brady. My money's on Seattle, so he's just straight up hater. Also, I can't take this hat off now because what my hair would look like underneath it. That's why I'm stuck in this, and I am so hot. You have no idea what it's like under these lights right now. People.
I know.
West Virginia Ben also asking, any love for steakums? Okay.
What's that?
Real quick about the steakums. I was raised on steakums.
What's
they
that?
were the first cheesesteaks I ever had. They are the frozen, thin, sliced meat. You can get really cheap shaved ribeye these days. You don't have to get the frozen steakums, but in a pinch, it'll do.
Also, the Skinny Joey's. Joey Merlino's got a new place in South Philly, and I heard it's really, really good. The alleged mafia leader in Philadelphia, he's got his own place there.
Powerline. If you're not a fan, check it out. Thank you to everyone who joined us here on Fox Local and Fox 5 DC's YouTube
Great
page.
show tonight.
As always, we'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, what do we got coming up, Tony P?
What do we have tomorrow?
What do we have coming up? I'm checking the calendar right
I'm
now.
not
Coming
sure.
up tomorrow, we are talking to the founders from right here in Washington, D.C. of Black Leaf Vodka. It's a black-owned vodka brand, so we're going to talk to them all about that. Too bad we won't have any samples, but coming up, Fox 5 News at 10, Josh Rosenthal has the latest on the Montgomery County school debacle. Mike Thomas will have the latest on the forecast because we could have a little more snow on the way.
A heat wave.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.